certainly some very exciting developments on the cards for the Pilanesberg Game Reserve. Was established some 44 years ago. Soon they're going to be celebrating half a century. What incredible work they've done now, being positioned modern, efficient, as a revenue vehicle that will respond to current socio-economic challenges and priorities. That's a lot of very fancy wording. Let's break it down. I'm joined, what a pleasure, by Kgosi Nyalala Pilane of the Bakgatla-ba-Kgafela nation. And wonderful to have you come in this morning. And while we're talking about socio-economic, let's talk about what could be an economic boom for the Pilanesberg. It's ripe for a boom, isn't it? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I think, good morning to your viewers. I think the focus is to try and ensure that this development eventually transcends into everybody within the area seeing the importance of the existence of the game reserve.
Yeah. Why now? Where has this come from? Why react to the socio-economic challenges now? Because it's been a tough couple of years. You've had COVID that we had to deal with from a tourism perspective. Why now? Talk to me about the timing.
Yes, the timing is just at the right time, because as you rightly said, we're coming from the COVID and tourism was so badly affected, and we think it's the right time now to start and revive that economy. We are actually launching on the long-existent social development master plan of the area. So tourism was one of the eNCA for this economic development. There are many other eNCAs like mining, in manufacturing, but for now we're focusing on tourism, and we're trying to ensure that the local people can also start to see them participating in this tourism sector.
This is always a fun question to ask. Whenever we talk about socio-economic issues, I'm going to ask you in this particular instance, Kgosi, what comes first? Does the socio come first or the economic side? Because you can't have them separate from each other, but one of them has to lead the other in the beginning, at least. Which one's coming first here, do you think?
Well, my take is economic obviously would like to strive or survive in an environment that is socially acceptable or conducive. So hence they cannot be separated. For business to thrive, for the economy to thrive, then the environment should be allowing that in terms of stability and understanding of where we're going to.
And where are we going to? What's the timeline plan here? Because these are always wonderful plans, but as we know, things take a while to A, get going, and then B, to actually reap the benefits. What's your timeline here, do you think?
Well, the timeline is in a very short space of time. Next week we'll be exposing what we're talking about, and we will then be trying to bring people who are interested, especially the locals, to train them to be part of this. One of the key operations there is the tour operators, which has not been given to the local people. And I think because we want to bring in or fuse in the heritage which the current operators are not familiar with, it is only the local people who will be able to understand when we talk of their own legacy in order to share it with the tourism or tourists who are normally coming to the area.
And I'll tell you why that's so important, because even I would imagine, tell me if you disagree, that tourists who come over here, you can tell, and even local tourists going to the Pilanesberg area, you can tell when someone is not from the area. That's like me going to Pilanesberg and trying to be a tour guide, taking nothing away from them, but you don't have that flavor of someone who grew up in the area.
Absolutely, and this is what we are trying to intervene and ensure that that element comes into the picture. We have really not managed to bring people, especially the tourist sector or tourists, in coming to the area within the villages, for instance, and that's where the socio comes in. Because once the local people understand the value of them being stable, and so that the tourists can easily come and visit the villages, that becomes an add to the economy of the area.
Let's talk the assistance that's needed, if any. I'm not suggesting assistance is needed. Does government need to come in here? You know I'm going to mention the words like Department of Tourism and Small Business Development. Do you think government needs to be involved here? Or is this a case of government can do what it needs to, we're going to run with this by ourselves? What's the status?
Well, the status is we'll start it, and obviously government will be invited, but we are not going to wait for government to come. We must study it ourselves. However small it might be, we will then grow, because once the business start to roll out, even outside investors without government, they can come in, because investors would like to come in an environment where they can make money and profit. Now, if everybody becomes an entrepreneur and understands this and protects the environment, then eventually everybody will be able to participate.
And that's the ultimate goal here. It's about protecting the land and the environment. That is what it's about.
That is why the Pilanesberg Game Reserve comes into the picture, because it has been doing this environment and protection and conservation, but it has not translated into the local people benefiting for economic survival of their own.
So someone watching now, for example, maybe they're one of the lucky few who may have a business, a corporation that would like to get involved in this sector, perhaps in the environmental or the preservation of natural heritage, but they're not sure how to go about that. What are you telling those people, those business owners, those corporations today? How do they get involved in something like this? What do you need to tell them?
Gareth, I think what we normally see, for instance, in terms of transport, our people are only focused on taxi operation. Now, we can even bring some of those because they're already in transportation.
Sure.
And tour operation requires that. Now, we can even convert them into participating in the scheme. But I must also declare that this is just a beginning. We are trying to do this as a pilot for the country, because I'm also representing Contra-Lesa, which is the Congress of Traditional Leaders for South Africa. Now, if this becomes a success, it can then be taken into other areas, because there are still other opportunities even outside Pilanesberg.
There are, and I'm so glad you mentioned Contra-Lesa as well, because every time we've spoken to Contra-Lesa and organizations representing land and people who live on the land, for example, it can be quite tricky to get everybody moving in the same direction, because within that sort of micro community, you've got issues within communities. How, as a final question to you, how do you try and get everybody, A, on the same page, and then moving in the same direction? How difficult is that to do?
It would only be difficult if you want to start big into every area. But if you can develop a solution as a pilot, then it becomes easy to relocate or translocate into other areas. And this is what we are trying to do, because we have seen this opportunity and we want to develop it, and we will then be bringing other traditional leaders to see how it goes, so that they can also allow this to be done into their own areas.
So sort of take that knowledge into other areas. I'll make this my last question, because I think this is important. Where does someone go now who might be watching this, they want to move into the sector, or they just want to be involved in the sector in some way or shape or form? Kgosi, where are we telling people to go to? Is it a website? Do we wait for a press statement? What are we waiting for after today if they're interested?
There'll be a press statement, and thereafter the website will be developed, and then everybody can be easily available to link, and we can start it from there.
And I hope we'll be talking when that link becomes available.
Absolutely,
the website goes live.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Kgosi, thank you very much for coming in. Wonderful, wonderful ideas for the Pilanesberg. If you've never been up there, you've been living under a rock, go find a rock in the Pilanesberg, because believe me, those are the most beautiful rocks, arguably next to the Kruger National Park, but don't quote me. So we are going to be looking forward to that in the next couple of days. My thanks. Wonderful to meet Kgosi Nyalala Pilane from Bakgatla-ba-Kgafela joining us this morning. All about big changes coming out in the Pilanesberg. When the details come out of where and how you can be involved, I promise you my team here at eNCA will make sure that we bring you those details.